kind of a misnomer that animation is meant for children and that kind of a thing. There are many things that a film like this has more kind of an audience with adult audiences. In fact, this film controversially was banned in the West actually because it was showing some amount of nudity and those kind of things coming from the West African kind of way and culture and all. And for quite some time, basically, it followed that this thing. But when it comes to art, basically the real depiction, and then if you see as a storytelling kind of thing, it runs like a very simple plot with this little kid even talking from within the womb, and then the mother says, "Well, if you can talk, you can come out." And then he decides to come out, takes us back, gets to know, and then immediately goes into action. So it's kind of a thing where you see the whole thing and then the whole journey going from facing various hurdles, being able, yes, from somewhere where it's totally oppressed to going in for a kind of a liberated kind of a scenario. And he takes it on alone. A little kid, precocious kind of thing, and then taking on. And even in the village, no one is willing to kind of believe him. They all ridicule him for his size. The kids don't want to play with him. The adults are always this thing. And then you see these two old men. Again, it shows that people also, ages know this thing. There's this old man who's so pessimistic, keeps putting him down. Then he goes and meets his grandfather where he learns certain lessons in life. Where again he goes back and goes through this whole journey. So it's a kind of a thing where in a storytelling kind of a format you've taken the whole journey with the obstacles and this thing to kind of and so there's basically the animation is kept very simple. So mostly it was like silhouettes and plain simple background. So the story actually builds itself through. Any views that people have?
Yeah. So one of the fundamental bases for any format that includes the film format as well. I think the story, and the stories are mostly borrowed from the folklore. So Africa has a rich folklore tradition as well. So have you also come across these Kirikou stories being propagated or said time and again? How is it being received? Or is it based on some folklore story?
It is a folklore story, but then it has been adapted by the filmmaker. He kind of also catered to the kind of audiences that this thing, because in the folklore basically when you take the original story, the Kirikou actually goes ahead and kills the sorcerer and those, but here the filmmaker has turned it around and kind of, yes, it makes it much more positive kind of thing. This, the filmmaker, from what I know, was making films, but this being successful, he followed it up with more Kirikou stories. But this by far has been the most award-winning, the most popular one of them all. But then we have seen in the same time frame, this was in the late 90s kind of a thing. At the same time, there was this whole movement of folk stories coming out of Poland and the entire Eastern European side. This one was a collaboration between France and Belgium actually. And there were all these, at that time we've also seen there were certain this thing that evolved. That was the time when animation was also evolving in this side of the world. So in India, so that was the time when the late 90s saw studios coming up and this thing. But unfortunately, at that time there was no originality in terms of the scripts or this thing. It was more taking productions and doing it for the Western production houses. They were this thing, and right now there's a lot of adaptation of Indian stories on similar folklore that can come with individual single filmmakers that can do it. Yes, when we were growing up, the Amar Chitra Katha kind of a thing, that whole revolution of making books of our folklore, heritage, history, all that. There's a lot that came in those, and I had the fortunate this thing to meet Uncle Pai several times, see some of those Lamakaan being done. It seemed, when we were reading, it seems to be like such a big thing, but when I went and visited his office, there were just four people. Four people, one artist, one storyteller, and one editor, and this thing. Four people drawing all those beautiful. Same thing here. The kind of the filmmaker basically takes charge, and he's characterized it, drawn it, and this thing. Of course, there's a production team at the back that actually does all the 2D production work, the music, back scores, background, the animation. So that's the this thing. And there are a whole lot of, you go deeper and deeper into each one of those scenes and this thing. There's a lot more that one would get to see in the film. But what comes through is the kind of, within the journey, this person taking on the problem head on, and even though he's not getting encouraged by most, wanting to go and deal with the problems one after the other. And again, he's going down to the root of the problem. He's not just this thing to go slay the sorcerer. He is going in to see like what makes her evil, and then discovers that there is a pain that is, so going to the oppressor and removing his pain to be able to solve the problem is something which is a little different kind of twist to the whole thing. Yes, exactly. There's an empathy factor coming in as well. Why should she be, and the way that he's going up the stairs to meet his grandfather, why? That's the kind of a questioning that brings to it. So when you go deeper into the skills of filmmaking, when you're this thing, even a simple animated film which is this thing can actually go on this thing saying that you go deeper and deeper into asking questions of life, and then his grandfather says, well, I can go on telling you why there's so many things, but then let's restrict ourselves to this particular issue that is on hand. And then that's the other thing.
The very reason I'm here is because once I bought a CD for 25 rupees near Himalaya, with a store which was newly come up in Secunderabad. So they were selling CDs for 25 rupees, that too game CDs. I found that those game CDs are little older versions, easier. But then I was triggered by, I don't know what at that time. And I bought that home and I've installed in my system. This game itself. Yeah. So the music in that intrigued me so much. That's why I'm here actually. It was very nice, very, very nice. It was very soothing. I wrote even to the music director, and he, replied me back. Thank you very much for appreciating and things like that. That's how it is.
Actually, there was a game also behind this. What made me curious was that why did an African story figure out a Western mindset? Because then the game angle that comes in, that is what brings in animation to such a deep degree over here. With sort of colors, sort of vegetation, the sort of story line which actually moves so smoothly. A fairy tale within a fairy tale and a game, which ends up all positive, is something I think the game is the entire movie. And challenges in life, how they are accepted, how they are taken,
Overcoming obstacles, overcoming challenges,
being able to ask the right questions,
selecting the points, basically moving ahead. It's like a game actually.
critical thinking.
It lends itself very well to a game as well, and that is where actually at the time when we were involved deeply in animation, this whole thing that a 70-90 minute animation film is actually a ad film for a lot of games and merchandise that come out of it. But the thing is, this, even for the filmmaker, was an unexpected success, having won so many awards and this thing, and then naturally it lends itself up to being able to take it as a franchise forward, building games out of it, building this. But it lends itself very well to a game because there are levels, there are challenges, there are obstacles you have to keep going across. So,
but in the game, I think they must be killing the sorceress. What are they doing?
I haven't.
What do they do in the game? The sorceress is subdued.
But then my system didn't allow me to go
further than a certain level. So he got stuck up at a certain level. The cave wouldn't open up because of that innocence was required to open up the cave, perhaps.
Others, while we come across a lot of children's films and also animation films, which is full of violence, and they provoke a lot of this attacking thing. So students and also children, especially, I have a nephew who gets so much attracted with Chota Bheem, Shiva, and also so many other Japanese, cartoons and animation, where they show a lot of physical violence as well. At a very young age, they find it very, very, gratifying to watch. So, but this one is without any bloodshed. It hasn't shown any bloodshed at all, and conveying a very wonderful message of empathy and how to live in peace, harmony. So there is a camaraderie among the villagers. There is a community life, and how to appreciate that life. And everybody is standing for a cause. So you can look at from various, perspectives as well. So I find, such animation movies to be promoted. It also, takes care of our art, literature, culture, heritage, history, everything. Rather than just bombarding with them, some video games which are not at all, fulfilling their needs. So why is that change has happened? I mean, this cruelty of showing children to some of these attacks and violent movements.
That's been an unfortunate kind of an evolution of this thing. Now is the age of instant gratification. Basically, there's things like if there's something you need to win it over, you need to snatch it, you need to get it. Going through so many levels to stand up, to kind of have all the kind of qualities that Kirikou was showing to go win the game, versus now the kind of and on the other side, it's basically that's what there's a lack of there's a lack of it's a kind of a very impatient generation that is that we are kind of reading, and the kind of games that have come up during that time also are like all shooting games, killing games. There's a lot of bloodshed. Even if it's this thing, you are like slicing across. You're kind of very violently slicing across. It might be vegetables and fruits, but the thing is, they shed blood. Then this thing and all. They're very gory. And most of them have become that kind of a popular this thing. Go ahead.
Moral of the story is that one should question to find the problems. One should question to find the solutions for the problem. That's it.
And the thing is, there is so much of myth there that the villagers think that they're kind of getting all the members are getting eaten. That she is the one who stopped this thing, and also everyone, that whole generation kind of believes that myth. And here's this little innocent fellow who he just goes right from a scratch without believing what is said to him, but he's saying that let me find out for myself. And that's the whole thing again. It brings on those kind of qualities to say that let's always question and keep going ahead, trying to find new solutions to.
Maybe we need a Kirikou today in India. Maybe we need a Kirikou nowadays in India.
A lot of them, in fact, and I think there's a lot of such folklore and this thing built into Indian folklore, village folklore, and those kind of things. And these little stories basically can be woven. But then again, it's like the viewership. You know, the Indian children have gotten so used to over the last this thing of seeing a certain kind of animated films, that whether they'll be in acceptance of something that is made so simplistically, that's made with some morals and lessons, and it's hard for us to kind of come up with those things. It's a challenge for many animation filmmakers, and there are many animation filmmakers who stood up to that challenge, and they have created wonderful little stories, 10-minute, 11-minute, 15-minute films, which are as engaging as perhaps this one was. Like, even if it's in a different language, we are all glued in. And animation is something which it cuts across language barriers. But unfortunately, we have grown up where it was very easy to take films, which are Chinese films, Japanese films, all kind of films, and dub them into Hindi, Telugu, English, and then put them across on TV, because you need so much of content to fill up the TV spots. So kids have grown up on a certain kind of animation. So when we say that we do need a lot of Kirikous to be giving such messages into our kids when they are growing up, it's kind of getting a little.
What technology did they use?
What?
Technology did they use?
But this one is like, this is in the era of plain hand-drawn animation. Basically, you draw the background, and then you put transparent cells. Those are called cells, actually, cellulite sheets. And on them, you draw you draw on paper, but then trace on these cells, and you do little movements for each one. So it was totally hand-drawn in those days, hand-drawn animation, but then brought onto the camera.
How is it recorded?
And then there is something called an animation stand. It's a filmmaking unit that has a 35mm or a camera built on one side with film on it, and you record one film at a time. You expose one frame at a time, and then you lay the music and this thing. It was a rather painful process, but it's like that's the way that animation was done all the way up to the late 90s. After which digital ink and paint came. So you still drew with the hand, but you scanned everything through, and then you were painting music with computer. Now most animation is totally generated with three-dimensional software, but then to give it a 2D feel, they kind of render it out as a 2D film. Even the 2D films that are done now are kind of, but they are developed in 3D because that's much more easy to do now. And the tools have evolved on the computer graphics side much easier.
Yeah, one thing is when we grow, it's clear we are involved for, we are conditioned for the biases and the experiences we go through. And I like to explain that kind of movies to my kids. And you don't know, when you learn to put on that place, how simple life becomes. I explain that movie at least once a year to my kids. And you cannot imagine the quantity of things they can see. I cannot. Now I'm learning, and I learn to watch the movies with them with absolutely open mind, just listening them. But if you put a screen that movie again with a bunch of kids, and you allow them to talk, as an adult, listen them, you get the solutions for many things because they are simple. They are looking at the movie, and they can get 90% of the messages much more clear than an adult, and without biases or neither prejudices. Because I remember the first time I screened that movie a few years ago, I don't know what the kids explained at home, but the principal got a call, the principal called me, "You are showing naked movies to the kids." Excuse me?
No, this was banned in the US. This movie was kind of stopped from screening in many countries where they said sensibilities of our children are being this thing. But like children don't look at that. Children get the message. They get the whole simplicity of it, and it's very difficult to make things simple actually. But that's where the art lies, and that's where the children basically like we are biased by our experiences that we have grown up with, to be seeing it with a certain kind of a mind. But for the children, it's like very transparent. Basically, it's a story, is a story, is a story. So when we grew up reading comics and all, we never this thing that demons were bad. It was part of stories. And that's the whole thing about these kind of films that basically, it's right. Basically, these need to be more exhibited inside schools, inside this thing with discussions around what you've learned from there. There are many exercises that one can go through after a film screening session like this, as to develop your own ending to the story, develop your own character that might be part of the next sequel to this story. It increases the creativity that the kids are going to be exposed to anyway.
If you actually look at what happened during our childhood, especially second, third, up to fifth standard, I don't know, I've studied in convents. So the first period of model science, which used to have multiple stories from Panchatantra or the Bible and actually the reading of that entire story, used to give these lessons per se. You used to imagine these, you didn't have to be shown an animation to that. But you used to live through these particular experiences and build up those learnings for the day. Yes, exactly what is being done in today's time, because those learning nuggets are gone in today's age.
Yeah, that's the thing about kids. Basically, when there's a storytelling session going on, every kid is imagining, and that imagination is so vivid. And filmmakers are kids, actually. They're people who never kind of draw. And that's the way that they connect more and more. That's the innocence that they have. That's the wisdom that they have. That's everything that they're trying to put into film, and that's the success of such film.
And taking it back to the rural side. Tribe, animals behaving like humans, the relationship basically and the learning to show the continuity of the
most films, including this, will have certain animal characters, will have certain recognizable kind of.
But in this movie, we have animated gargoyles also. The one that is monitoring, then all the robots that are coming in actually to destroy. So they're actually also given a picture to fear. They're given some sort of an animated picture to fearful things, to people or certain behaviors that might not be, that are disapproving, right? The caricatures.
Yeah, I know this discussion can go on, and I think we are also running short of time. Thank you so very much for staying back, coming on time, and giving your valuable insights. We will look forward to have you again and again. Whenever there is an opportunity, we are going to trouble you. Yeah, thank you so much, and once again, a big, huge round of applause.